welcome back to Race Recap. My name is Jackson. This past weekend we had all three series racing at the mile-and-a-half track of Las Vegas. And in my opinion, this is a pretty important race for these drivers because a good majority of the races are mile-and-a-half races, so this will be where you're really good at. So, before we begin today, I want to give a few more big announcements that happened in the racing world this past week. So, we're going to start out in Formula One once again. Russian driver Nikita Mazepin will no longer be racing for Haas Formula One and will no longer be racing in the series period. Now, this is a statement from Haas. They said Haas Formula One team has elected to terminate with immediate effect the title partnership of Uralkali and the driver contract of Nikita Mazepin, said a statement from the team. As with the rest of the Formula One community, the team is shocked and saddened by the invasion of Ukraine and wishes for a swift and peaceful end to the conflict. Also, it seems that Antonio Giovinazzi, who raced the number 99 Alfa Romeo car last season, will be filling in for Haas this season, and Pietro Fittipaldi, who raced a few years ago for Haas, will be the reserve driver. Now, also in Formula One, this isn't really breaking news, but it's something I meant to mention a few videos ago, just never got to it. If you can remember last season, there were a few sprint races, 100-kilometer dashes, about 20-30 minutes each, and they would set the field for Sunday's Grand Prix, kind of like a dual race, actually, at Daytona that we saw. So there are going to be 3 more of those this year, pretty upcoming one in just a couple weeks when the F1 is at Emilia-Romagna. The second one will be in the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and the third one will be later on in the year when they go to Interlagos in Brazil. Alright, so lastly, some more breaking news. Just actually today, David Gillen Racing has announced that on the way to Phoenix for the Arc Menards race, they were taking Taylor Gray's 17 car, and unfortunately, the hauler that was taking them there crashed on the highway in Texas. Unfortunately, the driver did die, and there were a few more people in the cars that were injured but are okay right now. So thoughts and prayers to those people that were in that crash. Alright, so let's get into the recap today. Of course, all 3 series at Las Vegas. First off, the trucks under the lights in Sin City, 134 laps on Friday. It was a very pretty eventful race. So the first caution brought out early on, the 9 of Blaine Perkins, who's driving full-time this season, spun around and backed it into the outside wall after he had contact a few laps earlier and had a tire go down. Second caution was brought out when the 91 of Colby Howard stayed out on this restart to try to get a few stage points, as there were just a few laps left in the stage. But the 38 of Zane Smith, who tried to make it 5 wide, just can't do that at Las Vegas. So he made contact with Howard, and Howard slid up into the outside wall. And back behind this, the 61 of Chase Purdy, who's actually making his first truck start of the year, didn't make the race at Daytona, checked up and was hit in the back by the 1 of Haley Deegan. And this did take him to the end of stage 1, which went to the 99 of Ben Rhodes. The third caution was brought out when, how about this, the 62 truck, Todd Bodine, is going to be joining us for a few more races this season, so he can get that mark up to 800 starts combined in the trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Unfortunately, the Friday night under the lights did not go the way he wanted. He had a couple spins. The first one was the third caution when he backed it into the outside wall. So then the fourth caution was brought out. Stage 2 winner of Ben Rhodes swept both stages. The fifth caution was brought out when the 24 truck of Jack Wood was trying to side draft Chase Purdy down the back straightaway, but the air just sucked the front nose around on Wood's truck, and he nosed it hard into the outside wall, ending his day. The sixth caution was once again for Todd Bodine, who went spinning, exiting turn number 4. The seventh caution was when the 42 of Carson Hocevar slid through the grass, but was able to keep the splitter clean. The eighth caution was brought out when the 99 of Ben Rhodes, who swept both stages earlier, was trying to get up, but he was tagged by his teammate, the 66 of Ty Majeski, who bounced off the turn 4 wall and down into the side of Rhodes, who nosed it into the outside wall and went almost airborne, actually. The rear tires got pretty high off the ground, luckily. Able to keep it on the ground, though, those safer flaps. And he did end his day, though. Then the ninth caution brought out when the 44 of Chris Wright went spinning. The 10th caution was when the 98 of Christian Eckes was battling the 51, driven by Kyle Busch this weekend, for the lead down the back straightaway. Eckes tried to throw the block on Busch, just was not clear, and he spun and actually pancaked the driver's side into the inside wall. Luckily, he was okay. And then on the last laps, there was actually some pretty interesting things happening. It was a late race restart, not overtime, just a late race restart. And with about 3 laps to go, the 19 of Derek Kraus had some contact with the 23 of Grant Enfinger and the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek. The 19 truck of Kraus didn't go spinning but went down into the inside backstretch but was able to keep it out of the wall, so there was no caution. But the 11th caution happened on the last lap when obviously a tire went down after the contact on the 23 truck of Grant Enfinger, and he went up and hit hard into the outside wall. Actually had some flames come out for a moment. He was okay, and actually at that same time, the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek also had a tire go down from that incident, and he nosed it with the 3 truck of Jordan Anderson, a big crunch. Nemechek was able to limp across the line, but Anderson could not make it. And also the 12 truck of Spencer Boyd, not too sure what happened to him, if he spun trying to avoid one of these incidences, but he ended up somehow into the inside wall in that 12 truck. And then checker flags in this race went to the 18 of Chandler Smith. He was able to hold off the boss, Kyle Busch, for a win. Top 10 here were Chandler Smith, Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, Stuart Friesen, Ryan Preece, Tanner Gray, Matt DiBenedetto, glad to see him in the top 10, Matt Crafton, Brett Holmes, and Austin Wayne Self round out top 10. DNFs in this race, Jordan Anderson was out for the accident, along with Spencer Boyd and Christian Eckes. Kaz Grala had engine problems in the 0-2. Ben Rhodes was out for the accident, along with Jack Wood, Haley Deegan, and Colby Howard. And Blaine Perkins was out for the damaged vehicle policy. The next day, the Xfinity Series was at Las Vegas. 200 laps is what they ran here. So early on, there was no caution actually on about the third lap, when the 39 of Ryan Sieg was battling with the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Gibbs, trying to make an aggressive move pretty early on, probably made a little bit of contact with the left rear of Sieg, and he sent him sliding up into the outside wall. There was no caution, though. He was coming down the backstretch now, Sieg, after wrecking in turn 4, limping it down to get to pit road. And actually, the first caution happened then when the 47 car of Brennan Poole went up in smoke with an engine going away. And then, actually, they went back green, not for long though, because debris got on the track, and this led to a red flag because it was raining, and it was actually snowing in Las Vegas, snow and sleet for a few minutes, but it wasn't that long of a delay. They were able to get the equipment out there and clear the track of snow and rain, and after they got back going, there were some words actually during the delay between Sieg and Gibbs, and in an interview, Sieg said, "We'll see if it's over." And the third caution proved that it was not over. It was brought out when the 39 of Ryan Sieg was trying to drive up into the door of the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Sieg basically out of the race, multiple laps down at this point, just trying to get a little revenge. Unfortunately, he spun himself out and actually got the 0-2 of Brett Moffitt into the outside wall with a little bit of contact as well in this incident. Moffitt was able to continue on though, but Sieg did go put it in the garage. And then the fourth caution was the Stage 1 winner of Noah Gragson. The fifth caution was when the 34 of Jesse Iwuji spun around, got loose, exiting turn 2. Not sure if I mentioned it, Jesse Iwuji going full time, or at least trying to, in the 34 car. So then the sixth caution was brought out when the 92 car of Kyle Weatherman went spinning after a possible contact with a 0-7 driven by Joe Graff Jr. this weekend, and Weatherman actually hit into the inside wall. And then the seventh caution was a pretty scary accident. The 5 of Matt Mills made some contact when the 0-7 of Joe Graff Jr. had some contact before that with the 91 of Mason Massey. Graff slid down into the side of Mills, who went sliding and nosed it hard into the inside wall. And actually, the back tires went way off the ground when he hit the safer barrier. Fortunately, Mills was okay, just a little bit shaken up, and Massey also ended up into the outside wall, able to continue. And then that did take him to the end of stage 2, which went to Noah Gragson, swept both stages. And then the eighth caution was a pretty big accident as well. The 34 Jesse Iwuji got loose again, this time exiting turn number 4. He slid up the track, backed it into the outside wall, and nowhere to go for the 6 of Ryan Vargas and the 99 of Stephen Parson. Parson actually got up underneath the 6 of Ryan Vargas. That's how hard he hit the rear end of that car. And also the 10 colleague car, Landon Castle, went spinning but was able to keep it going straight. And then the ninth caution was brought out on that restart. Cautions, 3 cautions. The 1 of Sam Mayer came down. The 19 of Brandon Jones went up, and they made contact, and Mayer ended up tagging the outside wall. And then the 10th caution was a pretty scary accident again. This time it happened when the 8 Trading, driven by Ryan Truex this weekend, got loose after a bit of a stack-up happened up front. He slid up into the side of the 21 of Austin Hill, who won at Daytona earlier this year, and Hill pancaked it hard in the outside wall, hit at a pretty bad angle. Fortunately, he was okay. Truex slid up into the side of him as well. The 26 of John Hunter Nemechek actually went sliding down pit road. Somehow he was able to keep it going straight without hitting anything. And the 98 of Riley Herbst, who had this accident cleared, just came down into the side of the 16 of Adrian Allmendinger, overcorrected, and went up into the outside wall. And then this led him to an overtime restart. And during this finish, it was the 4 of Bailey Curry and the 38 this weekend, driven by C.J. McLaughlin. They made some contact and hit hard into the outside wall, which then ended this race under caution because it happened on the white flag lap. And the checkered flags went to the 54 of Ty Gibbs. Top 10 here were Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, Daniel Hemrick, Josh Berry, Justin Allgaier, Landon Castle, Sheldon Creed, Brett Moffitt, A.J. Allmendinger, and Brandon Jones ran out of the top 10. DNFs in this race: Ryan Truex was out for the accident. So was Austin Hill, Ryan Vargas, Stephen Parsons, Jesse Iwuji, Matt Mills, Ryan Sieg, and then Brendan Poole of 47 had those engine difficulties. So on Sunday, the Cup Series at Las Vegas, 267 laps. The first caution was the competition caution. The second caution was brought out when the 41 of Cole Custer went spinning, exiting turn 2. The third caution was brought out when the 3 of Austin Dillon slid up into the side of the 31 of Justin Haley. Actually, Dillon was able to save it, but Haley could not save it. He went spinning down the backstretch. The fourth caution was brought out when the 8 of Tyler Reddick spun through the infield grass, but was able to keep it going straight. The fifth caution was the Stage 1 winner of Alex Bowman. The sixth caution happened when the 34 of Michael McDowell got loose in front of the 14 of Chase Briscoe. Briscoe came down trying to avoid him, but just barely tagged the 99 of Daniel Suarez and sent him hard into the outside wall, ending his day. Then the sixth caution happened once again, exiting turn number 4. This time the 6 of Brad Keselowski got loose and spun, and nowhere to go for the 12 of Ryan Blaney, ending Blaney's day. And then the 8th caution was brought up when the 14 of Chase Briscoe spun, exiting turn number 4, and also in the middle of turns 3 and 4, the 2 of Austin Cindric spun around, possibly some oil on the track from another car. And then the 9th caution was brought out, exiting turn number 2 this time. The 20 of Christopher Bell got loose and went spinning, and the 21 of Harrison Burton spun to avoid. And then the 10th caution was a Stage 2 winner of Ross Chastain in the 1 truck car. The 11th caution was brought out for the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. It was actually a pretty interesting accident here. It happened exiting the pit road during a green flag pit stop cycle. So, as you know, when you're leaving pit road or gassing up for a green flag, you'll shift into a higher gear to get more power. But actually, with the next-gen cars, they flip the way you shift around in the Cup car. So Hamlin, I guess through muscle memory, thought I should go this way, but it actually downshifted and broke all the gears in the car, leaving him stranded on the backstretch. And then the last caution was the 12th caution, which sent this race into overtime. The 43 of Eric Jones got up hard into the outside wall after losing it, and he came back up the track into the 23 of Bubba Wallace, who spun, almost hit the pace car, and Wallace made a little bit of contact with the tire wall and the inside wall, but was able to keep going. And the checkered flag in this race went to the 48 of Alex Bowman, who took 2 tires during this overtime pit stop and was able to get the win over his Hendrick teammate Kyle Larson. Top 10 here were Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, William Byron, Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell rounded out top 10. DNFs in this race: Eric Jones was out for the accident. Denny Hamlin had drivetrain issues. Cole Custer had engine problems. Greg Biffle, glad to see the Biff back in the car. Saw him early at Daytona. Unfortunately, he had fuel pump issues in the 44. Chase Briscoe was out for the accident. Ryan Blaney and Daniel Suarez also both out with the accident. Well, that's all for race recap. Come join us next weekend when the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series are racing at Phoenix.